very warm to fans and people he runs into. Very supportive, so I could see that. I could see that attraction. There's not many good guys walking around anymore, so it's good. I'm glad you snapped him up.
Well, and it was love. I mean, it was love at first sight because I had to go back to my ship in Miami. I was doing the Caribbean. I did the South America tour, and I remember I cried for 24 hours at the thought I'd never see this lady again. Phoned her for home in Milwaukee, and I told her father and her mother that I'd fallen in love with their daughter.
That's right. That's when you were doing the ships,
Yes,
right?
I was on the ships. I was an entertainer and a bingo caller on the ships.
Yeah, you did that for a long time.
Yes, I did. And I remember I took Jenny on a cruise once, and it was lovely. And Jenny said, she said, "You remind me of the ocean, John." I said, "What, you mean wild and restless?" She said, "No, you make me sick." There's a little seagoing gag there.
Well, that's great. And you guys are happily together.
Yes.
And
well, we think it's no credit cards, no children, no pets, and no debts.
Wow.
I haven't
You just said a mouthful. No debts.
No pets.
No pets. Oh my God.
No children and no credit cards.
Well, you can go anywhere you want.
Yes, we can.
You're not tied down. You're totally free. That's great.
And I see the Bank of America have got a brand new credit card out now. It's light sensitive. It starts accruing interest the moment you take it out of your wallet. Got to be careful.
Yeah. We won't get into Bank of America because I have a few bones to pick with them. But what were some of the favorite stories you might tell us about your days in Doctor Who? You always told us about how the cast was so supportive, but could you fill us in? Because I think nowadays people are really tuned into the new one, and I always tell everybody, there was a hiatus for 15 years.
Yes.
And there's a huge slab of great work before that, back in the 70s and 80s, which you were part of. So give us a feeling about that time.
Well, first of all, we're all proud to be from the country we're from, and I'm naturally proud to be an Englishman because, I went home and had dinner with the Queen of England last month, and he said he was the Queen of England, and when you go home, the atmosphere in England in the 70s was a growing, exciting time. And when you have a leading man like John Pertwee, and then you have a leading villain like Roger Delgado, you have the supportiveness of Nicholas Courtney as the Brigadier. They took me into the fold because I think they could see my naivety and my basic honesty. And the only reason I've always been honest all my life is because my father wasn't. And I did not want to grow up to be a nasty man. There's so much evil on the earth, it's hard enough as it is. And so when I ended up being offered the part, and what really happened, Tony, is when you're offered a part in a really big TV series, you don't know it at the time. We didn't know Doctor Who was going to become a phenomenon with 180 to 250 million viewers worldwide. And remember the pay that the BBC paid us. It's not like Star Trek. I made $85 an episode.
That's interesting.
$85 an episode, and even the leading man was only on about $500 an episode.
Didn't they think Doctor Who was a kids' show?
It started off when Sidney Newman invented it back in 1963. It was mainly for children under 11. And then suddenly they realized that the children were so scared, hence the new BBC thing, let your child watch Doctor Who from behind the settee, or the divan as you may call it here. So it ended up being a little violent, which we got several calls from the Houses of Parliament, especially when the dummies came out of the menswear windows, when the dummies came alive and started killing people. So in essence, really, the reason people like me thrived in show business, there was a naivety and an innocence within the BBC. And I'm not saying you don't have it in America, but the desire for fame and fortune is so overwhelming in Hollywood that I think you often miss the reason that you went into show business in the first place. Like when I first met my agent, I said, "My name is John Anthony Blake, I'm an actor." He said, "Don't worry, John, your secret's safe with me." And so, yeah, the feeling in Doctor Who in those days was magic, and it comes across on the screen.
Now, do you keep in contact with any of your mates from the show?
Oh, yes, I do, because I do like them still. Richard Franklin, who played my captain, John Pertwee, of course, died nearly 10 years ago now. And I have to be honest with you, I do shed the odd tear. I am unembarrassed, and I'm embarrassed to tell you that I'm an emotional man. I've seen some very bad things when I did the South American trip and I did the third world countries. What England and America are doing in these countries is absolutely disgusting, which we mustn't get onto now. But I decided that you've got to be nice. There's a saying we have in England. Shakespeare once said, "Be bold, and mighty forces will come to your aid."
Oh, yes.
And I've lived on that. I believe in three things. Familiarity breeds contempt. Unto thine own self be true, and be bold, and mighty forces will come. And that's the way I've lived my life, and it has paid off because I have some wonderful friends. I have a wonderful wife who I wouldn't leave for the whole world. So I've ended up being paid by God or whoever is the looker over. I've been looked after very
well.
much.
I think in the long run, I think, like you said, these people that playing a little fast and loose, I think they live in their own hell in some ways because their life gets so complicated and gets out of hand. But now, is there anything you want to mention to your fans that you maybe haven't had? I know you have a website and you keep pretty close contact with that. But
well, I mean, if I may,
is there anything you want to relate to them?
Well, I mean, really and truly, Tony, I just love them. I don't care where they're from, what they think, how they dress, and what they say. I'm just as outspoken as anyone, and I've always been a bit outspoken because you have to help the poor and the people that don't have the strength to do it. John Pertwee taught me that. John Pertwee, for those of you that don't know Dr. Who, was our leading man, and he was the royal family's favourite comedian for many, many years. He was the most famous radio show actor, and he took me under his wing. Now, when you have a father like mine, who was a war hero but hated me when he came home from the war, I grew up with all these dreadful problems. I was scared, fearful, and I had a lot of illnesses which were born out of being born in the war.
Relating those.
And so I just grew up knowing that, you've got to help people now and again. You can't expect life to just come and go along in its ordinary way. So to the fans, I've always regarded you, I've always loved you, I've always liked you, and I always give my best because the fans are the people that make us. And that's how I feel, and I think I will always feel that way.
We're getting close to the end. Let me run this by you real quick. I've got a few more questions and I don't want to miss them. Do you have anything you want to tell us that you've got plans for the future? I hear you're going back home for a very nice trip, a round of I guess science fiction events.
Yes.
And anything else on the burner?
I nearly got a screenplay off. I have to tell you, I wrote a screenplay, rather a long-form treatment, which is basically almost your screenplay. Warner's nearly took it. It was a political thriller, which of course you always love your own work, but the people that read it said that I got the greatest compliment the other day. Again, because I never thought I was a writer, my writing has turned out to be very powerful, and I'm very grateful again to John Pertwee and Barry Letts, our executive producer, for pushing me towards writing my own thoughts. And yes, so I nearly got a screenplay off, which would have been lovely, but I am off in 2 months' time down to Tennessee. I'm playing a 600-year-old man in a science fiction movie being produced and directed by the Tennessee Film Commission. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And of course, just living life with Jennifer, my wife, that's really the best part of it all.
Well, we're coming to the end of this thing. Unfortunately, a half hour just doesn't last long enough for us. But I'll just thank you very much for coming on the show and being such a wonderful guest. And I think you had a little fun. So we're going to wrap the show up. This has been California Kaleidoscope. I'm Tony Genovese. We have a little saying for the show. The saying is, keep your eye out for California Kaleidoscope on your TV here, because we're going to be out there looking for you. So thanks very much.
It's been a pleasure, Tony. Thank you.
And thank you.
And thank you, cameramen and soundmen, people that very rarely get mentioned, but you do 50% of the work. Thank you so much.
I'll second that.